In this video we're going to talk about ignorant versus brilliant approach to great achievement in your game and anything else. We ask you to consider returning the energy shared in these videos through PayPal or Patreon to unlock flow for yourself and so that we can continue sharing the source truth and guidance. More empowerment and clarity to you. Doesn't it make sense that your approach to the thing that you want to accomplish would create the outcome you want efficiently if the approach is good, high frequency? What is it that you want to accomplish? And are you being brilliant in your approach to that thing, or are you being ignorant? What is your game? What is your strategy? Do you know for sure that you're going to gain that ability or that success efficiently? And do you know that you're going to gain it at all with your approach? We're going to talk about what a great, brilliant approach looks like when it comes to anything, but especially your progress in this game. And if your approach will give you the outcome you desire at all. I'm going to start with talking about a great approach to getting to the highest frequency, to gaining ultimate empowerment and clarity and freedom. But you will see that the same approach goes for anything. Building a business, gaining physical strength, building the life you want, or anything you can possibly think of. As a source player who is going to reach the highest frequency, there are many types of work that needs to be done before you can experience that frequency. And as you start to understand what type of work needs to be done, you should recognize whether or not this is some type of work that you have done. How could you possibly have gotten to the highest frequency unless you have forgiven, for example? And what do you do about that? You recognize now that you need to forgive everything, yourself and everyone, and all things. You understand that you need to choose to be in the moment. You need to choose to let go of anything that is occupying your mind with negativity. You need to choose to become a positive person with a great outlook on life. You need to be a person who chooses to know that you can achieve anything that you put your mind to. And what do you do about all this? A great approach would be to recognize that these are things that needs to be done, and then you sit down and do them. You sit down and intend to forgive everything. And there are many different approaches you can have to complete forgiveness. Of course, the self-hypnosis needs to be completed. But was that enough? Are you sitting there now, having a complete experience of having forgiven everything? Look around. Search up some pictures of people on Google or Facebook or whatever it should be. Scroll through them. Is anything coming to mind? Is there something you can forgive? Scroll through your YouTube feed. Is there anything you can forgive? And intend to forgive everything. That is actually a very powerful approach to forgiveness. Recognize anything that comes to mind, and forgive. Look around you in the room you're sitting. Is there any objects that are being perceived in a way they shouldn't be, in a limiting way, in a judgmental way? Is there anything coming to mind that is not of the highest frequency, that is not of forgiveness? No judgment whatsoever, simply neutrality, and a high frequency positive way of perceiving that thing. Have you been brilliant when it comes to this type of achievement? What if you were to think about what you can or cannot achieve or accomplish? Is there anything coming to mind that you don't think you can achieve? Have you taken a look at that? Have you tried to change your mind about it? As a brilliant Source player, you recognized that there is a list of things that needs to be taken care of. Have you taken care of them? Have you recognized any judgment? Have you taken care of it? Have you sat down to seek them out and deal with them as they appear? What is your intent? Are you intending to recognize anything and everything that must be dealt with? And not overwork yourself. You can only handle so much at a time. It is your intent to be able to deal with all the things that you potentially could deal with. Is your intent on having the greatest amount of success that you can possibly have when it comes to these things? It's like if you were to start a business or a project and you recognize that there are many tasks that needs to be done. And what is your approach when you recognize those tasks? You see that this thing over here needs to be done first. You couldn't do the next thing unless this is done. So what do? Do you sit down and complete that task? And then what? Do you take a break? Can you go to the next task? Can you keep working? Why do you need a break? If you do the next task, you have had great progress. Well, when that task is done, what do? Can you keep going? Why not? What are you doing instead? There are simply a list of tasks that needs to be done. Do them. You couldn't possibly have that business, or having that thing built, or having the highest frequency, unless the jobs are done. And they are simply just a little job. You need to sit down and forgive. When that is done, you have taken care of forgiveness. And you could spend 1 week where you work efficiently on forgiveness. I'm not saying it needs to take the whole day. You sit down for 30 minutes or whatever amount of time it takes you to recognize that you have had a great progress today with forgiveness. And maybe you achieved what you would consider ultimate forgiveness. But the next day also you recognize if there is anything remaining. And you sit down and you forgive. And you look for different areas of life where that same type of forgiveness could exist. It could be about yourself or others or the world that did you wrong, and you catch them all and you deal with them. And the next day too, you continue. Is there anything? And you have a strong intent on forgiving everything, and you catch anything that comes to mind and you deal with it. And that is a brilliant approach. You recognize that a job needs to be done for you to be able to have what you so desire, and you get to work on it, and you do it brilliantly. And there isn't much more to say about that. I could talk about different types of jobs, different types of things that needs to be dealt with. But the same way of dealing with it goes for anything and everything. Do you know that you can achieve anything? Do you know who you are? Does anything come to mind that is a misconception of who you are? You don't think you can achieve this and that? Well, remind yourself who you are. Of course you can achieve those things. Of course you can do those things. Of course that is a strength and a ability that you can have. What about recognizing areas of life where you might be misunderstanding what you really want? Can you sit down and deal with that? That's a job. Now you could let go of many misconceptions about what you want that is stealing your time and energy, and you could rather recognize what you really want. That's a job. And when you have achieved that, you could spend the rest of your day and all of your energy focusing on the things that you have recognized that you and your soul and your source self is the things that are going to be the most beneficial and joyful and valuable journey for you. And then you can have greater accomplishment and progress in those things, instead of sitting there split about it and thinking that you want to buy this big castle on the hill. Well, it's a beautiful idea, but is that really what you want? And it's the same approach for anything. So what are you going to achieve? What are you building? And what jobs needs to be done before you can have that thing, before you can experience it? Become aware of those and do them. And what is your approach now? Now that you know these things, you need to become aware of what you want, recognize what that entails, what you need to do. You want to achieve highest frequency. What jobs needs to be done for you to have that experience? Stay in the moment, choose to be happy, let go of low frequency mindsets, forgive, make the list, and sit down and practice, sit down and do the jobs. Simply sit down and forgive, and make it a nice experience. Whatever you want, however you want it, make it a joyful experience for yourself. You're doing an important task here, it's a big deal. It's a beautiful thing. And have fun with it, enjoy it. Enjoy the journey. And do the jobs. It can feel so good and right to keep busy with something. But are those things really getting you to the place you want to be? Essentially, there are some jobs that needs to be done, and you can keep busy with other things. but unless those jobs are done, that thing is not going to become what you want it to be. And don't fool yourself. Do not fool yourself. Be completely, fully, and completely honest with yourself about the jobs that needs to be done and about whether or not they have been done successfully. You're sitting down to forgive. Well, did you actually forgive? Does it really feel like you forgave? Does it really feel like you have forgiven? Is there anything else that you can forgive? And then you forgive. And do it in your own pace. You don't need to overwork yourself. You don't need to force yourself to do anything that you don't want to do right now. Maybe there is something else you want to do. If you want to relax, well, a brilliant approach to relaxation would be somewhat mindful. How are you relaxing? What is your intent? What are you working towards? Well, you're working towards feeling relaxed and rejuvenated and energized. In this video, we're simply just talking about what a brilliant versus an ignorant approach would be. And you can always play your game better. And there is always a truth to the level of brilliance in your approach to all sorts of things you do in a day. And you can be truly brilliant in the important jobs that you are doing for you to get the thing that you really want. Learn to not be a steamboat forcing your way against the river with anything. Recognize what you could enjoy doing now and do those things. And if there are important tasks that really needs to be done and you recognize that there is no other way for you to get those things done unless you force it, then use your intent. Use your intent on finding time soon where you can enjoy doing that job, where it comes naturally to you. And learn to flow with it. Recognize so clearly what you need to do for you to get to where you want to be. And recognize the value of having those jobs done. Then it's going to be a lot easier to naturally find yourself at a place where you enjoy doing those jobs. Because you know they are essential. You know they will get you to where you want to be. And then you do them when you have the nudge that this is what you should be doing now. And you enjoy it. If you have benefited from this content, consider returning the energy through PayPal or Patreon. You get out of this whatever you put in. More empowerment and clarity to you. Thank you.